All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Problem Solver Politics. Unfortunately, it would just be me this morning. Cardin is a little bit indisposed this morning, but there is some cool stuff going on with the Iowa caucus coming up, and as of recording, 7 hours, I believe, they're going to start going. So we'll have the results coming in probably over the night and into tomorrow morning. But in that last little kind of push to caucus day, we've seen some cool, interesting developments that I want to talk about. So first of all, this is the biggest one, and this is the one that really got me reminiscing, I guess you could say, of the far distant past of 2016, when a Mr. Ken Bone found himself inserted into the national discussion. Now, I have to be honest, I remembered that Ken Bone was popular, but I couldn't place why. I knew, obviously, 2016 election, I knew he asked the candidates a thing. I thought he asked the candidates something nice about each other, but it's not quite it. Anyway, first of all, I want to roll this video because he had done a interview with CNN. He has been just tweeting a lot in the last day or so in general about Andrew Yang, but this video he really kind of explains a little bit, and then we'll go into who Ken Bone is a little more, and we'll talk about some of the endorsements and some of the just kind of people throwing their hat into the ring in this last final push to get the caucus day for Yang. So first of all, let's run this video because this was cute. I like this one.
Hey Iowa, this is Ken Bone, and I don't put this thing back on for just anybody, but I did it for you, and I did it for a candidate I really care about. And that, of course, is somebody who's going to put humanity first. Somebody who's willing to compromise to get things done without compromising their principles. Somebody who's willing to think about tomorrow's problems without putting aside the problems that we all face in our lives every day. And that, of course, is Andrew Yang. So, Yang Gang, especially Yang Gang in Iowa, I'm pleading with you. Get out to your caucus locations tomorrow, February 3rd at 6:30, and let's get this thing done. Let's get Andrew Yang to the next level.
So there we go. I love the I don't put this thing on for anybody. And then that's what we'll get into a little bit more of exactly. If some of you are asking, who exactly is Ken Bone? Why is it significant that he's back, so to speak, right? So here's the iconic red sweater, so to speak, now to get into it. Because like I said, I remember when I read that Ken Bone was endorsing Andrew Yang, I was like, oh, cool, because I believe definitely a political figure. I said I couldn't place it why. So here we go. I want to pull. It was an article actually from 2016 where they talk about Ken Bone. I mean, who is this gentleman? Again, you'll notice October 10th, it was the second general election debate. So, later in the cycle when Ken Bone first made his appearance known. But here's the article. I said we're going way back to 2016 for a little trip down memory lane of who is Mr. Ken Bone. And long story short, on what he did that made him so memorable is nothing really in particular. I don't know, maybe you saw in the video, he's kind of got some charisma to him. But anyway, during the second presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, here we go. This was the question he asked. During the debate, there was a format where just they had people pre-selected from the audience to ask questions to the candidates. So he asked Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, what steps will your energy policy take to meet our energy needs, while at the same time remaining environmentally friendly and minimizing job layoffs? Which, pretty good question. I get me. And you'll notice something else. This is what I wanted to point out this article. The author here goes on to mention, why is Ken Bone such a prominent figure? Why is his endorsement something people are reading about today? And he even says here, who knows? We can't really place, Is it the name Ken Bone? I guess. I mean, it's a nice name, a couple syllables there. Is it the power outfit? Well, it's a nice sweater, right? So, like I said, I wish I can give you guys a better reason for why. And then, of course, the reason why he became more discussed, I am aware a lot of memes were made. He became kind of a meme, Ken Bone. I guess it's just his look in general. I have no idea. But it isn't... obviously I don't think the Ken Bone endorsement tilts the election, you know what I'm saying? However, I definitely think it is interesting to see in this last day the kind of people, and that's a bad way of putting it, in this last day leading up to caucus, it's kind of interesting that the various kinds of personalities I've seen mentioning Yang that I hadn't seen mentioning so much in the past. This is one that really was interesting to me. A lot of you guys probably might not be familiar with this guy. He's a comedian. I'm only familiar with him. I think he was on like a Joe Rogan podcast once or something. I think he's like friend Joe Rogan. But one of those names, when I saw this person tweeting about Andrew Yang, never in a million years did I expect, oh yeah, this guy's probably going to be tweeting about Yang at some point. But comedian Doug Stanhope has actually been tweeting about Andrew Yang for the past couple days, very much along the... Now, it's... For those of you not familiar with who Mr. Stand-Up is, let's read this tweet. It's more or less gives you an idea of the kind of comedian he is. Says, okay, Andrew Yang, I'm going to start calling Iowa on your behalf, but unlike Chappelle, mine won't be funny. Instead, I'm going to tell them I kidnapped their kid, and now they got to do what I say. I saw it almost work in a Mel Gibson movie, but never before in a campaign. Genius, hashtag Yang Ting. And he went on and tweeted many, many other things about Andrew Yang. And again, he's a edgy comedian, I guess you would call him. But again, just not at all the kind of character I was expecting to see in this discussion. Now, it means a couple things, perhaps. One thing I always think stuff like this means is that people that are active online have noticed that that's a great... I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen this exact tweet by like verified journalist types. Holy cow, I made one tweet mentioning Andrew Yang, and my mentions flooded with people tweeting about the Yang Gang. Wonder if the follower counts go up as well. And, so I think that's part of it. People that are, active in the Twitter game realize definitely talk about Yang, and we're seeing people. But, I mean, I'm not want to say it's like jaded and cynical. It's just at the same time, if everyone's talking about a certain topic, it tends to be the thing people talk about. And with Doug Stanhope in particular, I mean, I believe he started tweeting about him because I don't want to make it seem like he's some jaded clout chaser, like, oh, nice, Andrew Yang. Because I think one of the first big tweets I saw from him was him actually complaining that he was having trouble donating to Andrew Yang on his website during the Yang money bomb, kind of at the end of that last reporting period. So again, seems like someone legitimately interested in the campaign, just not the kind of character I was generally assuming, oh, this person's probably going to speak up on behalf of the election. But so very cool. We had comedian Doug Stanhope. And then another comedian, which I guess in general, man, a lot of comedians do like Andrew Yang. This is the God account on Twitter. If you guys aren't super familiar with Twitter, you might be okay, the God account. I mean, what does that really mean? It's a parody irony account, right? Well, the reason why it's somewhat significant is that it has, can you guys see, 6.1 million followers. I mean, it's a very massive account. Again, I think it's I forgot who he writes for. It's a comedian, a writer from New York who runs the account. So again, we have comedians looking at Andrew Yang. But I mean, on Shock the World, Iowa, going out to 6.1 million people in the behalf of Andrew Yang on Twitter. I don't know what that costs to get your sponsored tweet in front of 6 million people, but I do think it's a lot of money. So that is definitely a good thing for Andrew Yang. And it doesn't end there, this little Yang push that we're seeing. Now, these last few things I'm going to show you guys aren't so much... a little different, but this is one I love. This is actually, so I'm not super familiar with the organizations, USA, PA Images. Anyway, someone posted this on Twitter. They found this image from the Super Bowl last night where obviously it's a picture of Math Hat, and you can see in the background Beyonce and Jay-Z are there as well. But no, I'm in jest, of course. But I thought it was really interesting because, first of all, if your seats are in front of Jay-Z and Beyonce, I get they're maybe on like the elevated booth, but trust me, if you're sitting close to Jay-Z and Beyonce, I think you've got some pull and you're an influential character. So I don't recognize who the guy is. He's out of focus and blurry and probably isn't like a celebrity. He might just be a wealthy individual. So good for him. But very cool seeing a Math Hat make an appearance at the Super Bowl. Like, it's not just at the Super Bowl. I mean, this is one of the primo locations to be watching the game, I would have to guess. And it doesn't end there with Andrew Yang in the Super Bowl. This one was really funny to me as well during the pregame show. And this happens a lot, man. Someone got an Andrew Yang sign back there. And I love how Andrew Yang is definitely cornered like the College Game Day style of like guerrilla advertising. I mean, for those of you guys who aren't super familiar, the shot you see on the left here where you see the Yang Gang sign in the background. Again, this is before the Super Bowl, so you think a lot of people follow the God account. And people watch the Super Bowl, So a lot of people saw this, but it cracks me up. College Game Days, they do it for Saturday morning, college football, American football out here. And they do this kind of shot where they have the people in front of the crowd with their setup and the fans are in the background. And they always hold up signs. It's become kind of like a thing. There's been a couple people who went viral. They'll hold up signs with like their Venmo or Cash App and get a lot of people sending up money because so many people watch it. Just your average Saturday college. This is the Super Bowl, man. So very, very, very interesting to see. Again, one way you see a Yang Gang appearance in the Super Bowl, not in the game, but in the building itself, and then on TV going out to millions of people. We had another Yang Gang appearance. So I thought that was really cool. I don't know how you guys watch Super Bowl, but it's obviously in America one of the biggest events of the entire year. A lot of people watch it. I don't know how many football games Jay-Z and Beyonce really feel the need to attend, but this is one they definitely did. So very, very cool. I don't know. I just thought that was really I had seen earlier this morning. I had seen the video, or yesterday during the game. I saw this come out. The video of the Yang sign in the background during this. And you can see it was up there for a good few seconds originally, and then they cut away. And then I believe they came back later, and you could see it. Talk a little bit Alex Rodriguez, and yeah, he was still up. And then I think when they cut back for like the last time, that's when the people came to him and said, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. Can you put that sign away? Oh, maybe not. Maybe he just did come back up. That is really funny. and he got it back up again. That is hilarious, man. Good, whoever that individual was, good on them, man. That is real, because I guess they obviously don't for some reason. I had to imagine they policed exactly this at these TV events for exactly this reason. It's, Fox isn't broadcasting this so I can run up and hold a problem solver politics sign up in the background, like, check out my channel. You know what I mean? Like, they generally speaking, especially for political endorsements, like Fox, I think it's Fox Sports for this podcast. Yeah, Alex Rodriguez. They're not looking to endorse any particular candidate, so to have only the Andrew Yang sign up like that. Apparently no one in the booth said anything. They just let him do it, so that's really funny. But that cracks me up, man. He had that up the whole, because how long is this? 2 minutes on TV, probably on camera for like 15 seconds or so. But still, a lot of people saw that Andrew Yang sign. And then again, if anyone could tell me more about if anyone knows who this individual is, shout out to this guy, dude, wearing the math hat to the Super Bowl. I love that too. It's like it's not, this guy isn't grabbing groceries. I'm pretty sure before you go to the Super Bowl, you stop and take a look in the mirror and say, is this really what I want to wear today? You know what I mean? So very cool that this guy, when he was rolling out, was like, you know what? I'm grabbing the math hat. I'm repping the math hat today at the Super Bowl. So shout out to that guy. And again, shout out to another couple individuals, Mr. Ken Bone, who is very, very, again, one of those weird, just kind of American political folk figures. You know what I mean? Like I said, I heard the name. Oh, Ken Bone. Definitely recognize Ken Bone. Red sweater guy. Yeah, I know that. And then I was trying to think, what was that thing he did again? And like I said, I thought he asked the question to Hillary, say something nice about Trump. Or I think he asked both of them, say something nice about each other. No. He asked an energy question. A pretty good question, right? Like, how can we not lose jobs while having cleaner energy at the same time? Solid question. But the fact that 4 years later he's verified on Twitter and people are actually saying, hey, who is Ken Bone endorsing? And like he said, he doesn't bear the sweater for anyone. This was a big moment for him. His video's got 176,000 views in 18 hours. So again, he's not Beyonce big, but very interesting to me. I wanted to point that out, especially because I don't know if he's actually from Iowa exactly, but I definitely know from the Midwest. So kind of some similar ties there. So there we go. Shout out to Mr. Ken Bone and the red sweater. Like I said, Doug Stanhope and his very interesting relationship with Andrew Yang. I was not expecting it. Not something that I had necessarily like on my list of people that probably endorse Yang and haven't said anything about it yet. Doug Stanhope wasn't up there. So shout out to Doug Stanhope for endorsing Andrew Yang, for better or for worse. And like I said, this is, by the way, I want to make sure I mention, not the first time the God account has mentioned Andrew Yang. During the January debate, when Andrew Yang was absent, I believe the account tweeted out something similar along the effect of, we need Andrew Yang at this debate, Yang Gang miss Andrew Yang, something like that. Again, I'm not actually a big fan of the account myself. However, holy cow, 6 million followers is a lot of people on Twitter. I mean, I think, for example, you look at some of the more top of my head, I don't want to shame any big time Twitter users, but that's more followers that a lot of really popular famous people on Twitter have. So that is a very, very good thing for Andrew Yang to go out to all those people. And like I said, we're coming up to, it's like, by the time you watch this, probably 5-6 hours till the caucus opens and people actually go in and start placing their ballots in Iowa. So it's a big day coming up for Andrew Yang, obviously, but there definitely is a lot of people noticing it as well. It's not the kind of thing where, and I say this, no offense, obviously I don't follow all the same accounts, so I wouldn't see him. That being said, I'm not seeing this kind of buzz for Amy Klobuchar. I don't know who, and I feel like I always pick on Amy Klobuchar. I was saying with Pete, I don't know who is rolling out, about to step out, going to the Super Bowl, man. I got tickets, I'm going to be sitting by Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like, I got good tickets to the Super Bowl. And I cannot imagine anyone showing up in an Amy Klobuchar hat, Pete Buttigieg hat, Joe Biden hat. Like, maybe Bernie, right? But like Yang is that one where I saw it and I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely could just see that. I could just see somebody getting ready to go to the football game being like, you know what? I'm wearing the Yang hat. People got to know, because like I said, no offense, but they are definitely not wearing Amy Klobuchar hats. They're definitely not wearing, I've never even seen an Amy Klobuchar hat. Elizabeth Warren has like that weird toothpaste kind of teal color, I think, in her hats. I've never seen one, but it's like her color, right? Pete, would they be just like that weird, you know what? I gotta admit, the kind of like Notre Dame-esque, like mustard with the, like that kind of like deep navy royal blue. I don't hate that color scheme, but still, the iconic math hat, which, by the way, that's one thing about this campaign that's really cool and interesting already. It's the Iowa caucus hasn't started yet, and that's already an iconic. I think you could just say in American politics, the math hat's become somewhat iconic. I think in part because, for whatever reason, it seems like, you know, say what you want about it, the MAGA hats Trump had in 2016, like, for whatever reason, they caught on with his base, and he still uses them. And you'll notice like not every candidate's able to do that. Come up with this kind of iconic image that really gets people, and for years they will be using that image, right? The math hat seems to be one of those things, man. The math hat seems to be one of those things that he released it early and it is stuck on, and I think part of what makes something like iconic is it's so simple, right? I mean, you could almost, I think what makes it kind of this isn't a video about me just talking about why I love the math hat so much. But what makes it interesting is you can wear it to an event like a big public event without feeling like you're just branding a billboard. You know what I mean? It doesn't just feel like it says, vote for Andrew Yang. Like I am just blasting this advertisement everywhere I go. And it feels more like you're kind of wearing the math hat it's like you kind of can signal to other people who know what it is. Like, yeah, I'm a Yang supporter. But at the same time, it doesn't have Yang 2020 written in highlighter around the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of what makes it cool. I don't know. Like I said, that wasn't the point of this video. All I wanted to do was let you guys know, one, that this Ken Bone gentleman did endorse Yang. Two, who the hell is Ken Bone? And what is going on with all these people talking about Andrew Yang? Because the caucus is coming up, and a lot of people, myself included, think that Andrew Yang is going to be surprising some people in Iowa tonight. I looked at a poll. It was released by... I don't want to get into motives, but it seemed like a very progressive, very Bernie-friendly outlet released an internal poll they had done that showed that Bernie Sanders was going to win. However, that own poll also showed that the second most popular candidate in all of Iowa was Andrew Yang. He had the, I guess, highest favorability compared to unfavorability. I don't have the data pulled up right in front of me right now, but I was just looking around. I'm even seeing like things that are by no means trying to bump up Andrew Yang, having to mention like, Andrew Yang is getting popular. I think Emerson said that was Emerson poll. They were asking people in the last 3 days, like 35% of the people that are going to caucus for Yang made up their mind in the last 3 days. I think that roughly 30 to 40% of people in general probably made up their mind in the last 3 days, because that's kind of how this stuff goes. I doubt these people have 15 candidates in their head and they're like, oh my God, I might vote for Cory Booker. Is he still on there? Like, they probably were down to like, is it Yang or Bernie, or is it Yang or Biden? Right? Like, I have to imagine it's closer to that than somebody who's just like, I got 40 people, I don't even know, man. Like, can I still vote for Marianne? Like, I think people kind of knew. Also worth noting, Michael Bloomberg, who is obviously ignored Iowa, is very unliked in Iowa. So I think part of Michael Bloomberg's Super Tuesday plays bears in that mind. Anyway, I'm not going to get too long on this one. I already have gone too long, but just want to let you guys know that a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on tonight. There's going to be a lot of people polling for Andrew Yang tonight. Like I said, on top of all the people we've already seen. And again, the reason why I bring this up, if this one account has 6 million followers, I have to imagine this one individual that has a 6 million follower account, which is pretty rare. There's probably a lot of other people who just don't have that reach that think somewhat like him. You know what I mean? So that's what I always say when I see something big like this. It's, for whatever reason, this person's resonated with 6 million people. I have to imagine a pretty good percentage of those people might think enough like him to, hey, think about Andrew Yang as well. So that's all I got today, guys. Like I said, we will be live streaming tonight during the caucuses as everything's coming out. We get some of the early returns, see about some of the nonsense going on. I mean, of course, we might do another video, or I think before the caucus starts, we'll talk more about it. But a couple days ago, the Des Moines Register poll was spiked hours before being released because of I don't know why. An error, something to me that seems like should not have been possible. But anyway, moving on. We'll see you guys later, and take